The Centennial Ceremonies, recognizing the city's incorporation of 1909, was brought center stage in two separate events February 17th. The first at City Hall, where department heads were the first to contribute to the time capsule. The afternoon was led by Mayor Keith Bohr, City Manager Fred Wilson, and City Clerk Joan Flynn.
It's just awesome.
100 years has been a lot of changes, from being Shell Beach to Pacific City to Huntington Beach, Surf City, USA. In 1909, in this day, we were incorporated. We had a population of 915 people and approximately 3.5 square miles. I couldn't find out how many employees, but as you know, today we're 200,000 plus, approximately 28 square miles and 11 to 1,200 employees. So we've come a long ways.
But first, to give you a perspective of where we've come from, I want to read you a couple of the titles of the first few ordinances. So in 1909, our first ordinance, which we have the book open to, and beautiful hand scripting that's difficult to read, is the first ordinance of the city. It sets the time and the place for the city council meeting. Then we had an ordinance that adopted the city seal and provided for its care. After that, it gets real interesting. We have an ordinance, and these are all in 1909, the first ones, fixing the compensation of certain city officials. The city marshal, who preceded the police chief, made $40 a month. The city clerk got $15, the city treasurer $5, and the city attorney $20 a month.
The evolution of the city's technology since 1909 was particularly interesting to note.
We can see a progression of technology, and the progression went from handwriting that beautiful script until we saw that they got a typewriter, and then they got a mimeograph machine, and then whiteout came into effect, and then lift-off tape, and then computers with dot matrix printers, and then finally laser printers. And as of today, we don't even use paper. We're going paperless. It's all going to be electronic, and it's a progression of technology that we as staff has had to keep up with.
The time capsule, which won't be open for 50 years, was already getting very popular.
Ethics training, what else from a city attorney? And what we have from community services, there's quite a list here, but I'll give you the highlights. Or maybe you want to, Janine. But
well, I'd say the highlights are a piece of the pier from 1914, and a piece of the city gym and pool, and a piece of the sports complex.
There you go. Now, Jack Marshall, our Director of Information Services, let me guess, has a BlackBerry. What a surprise, yeah. There you
Something
go.
in future that will be just grafted onto our hands.
Right.
As I say, as a former employee, I think public service is noble, and so we thank you all for your service to this community. So give yourself a round of applause.
Later that evening, the ceremonies continued at Pier Plaza.
Thank you for coming out tonight. Happy birthday, Huntington Beach. Welcome to the city's celebration of 100 years. 100 years ago today, February 17th, 1909. I'm Keith Bohr, your mayor, and it's certainly my honor and privilege to be mayor during the centennial year. Important day in our history. Thanks for being a part of it.
And many were a part of it. Starting with each city council member reflecting on the milestone and also future contributions to the time capsule. The event was moving, touching, and humorous.
Yeah, I appreciate the letter from the governor today, too. What Keith left out was there was a P.S. asking us to pass a hat.
The first mayor was Ed Manning, a local plumber. I think his middle name was Joe. I also wrote a letter, I'm not going to read it to you, but I wrote a letter to the mayor in 2059 asking him to fix my sidewalks where the trees are popping up.
A memorable time, applauding residents whose family has been part of the fabric for up to 100 years. The first city council, the postmaster's centennial postmark, former mayors, and centennial reminders of a full year filled with special events. It was a day for which an entire year becomes a city's pride and joy, a once-in-a-lifetime journey for Surf City. For Surf City Highlights, I'm Matt Liffring.